Incorporating changes into the schedule. Hi, I'm Bill Carmody, and their changes are inevitable. And when you're incorporating them into the schedule, what you're looking for is what is the down the road impact. So when a change occurs, it might be that one of the resources that you are using is no longer available. What is the downriver effect of not having that resource available? Part of what you're looking to try to do is anticipate how the impact of that change is going to have on the overall project. Do you need to look at the time aspects? Is this change impacting the timeline? Is it not impacting the timeline, but it's affecting the budget? Or is it going to affect the quality? So if you think about these three things, you're thinking about any change that's being made has a ripple effect. Your job is to figure out what is that ripple effect and how do you mitigate the negative impact? If it's going to affect quality, you might want to consider how would I have to adjust the timeline? If it's going to affect the financial resources, you might want to think about ahead of time, what is that change going to be making financially so that you can get ahead of that? Sometimes that's okay, but you want to at least make sure that your stakeholders know, based on these changes, this is the financial impact we're seeing. In doing that work, what you're doing is you're constantly managing the changes that are occurring in the project. It's not static, especially when human beings are involved. People go out sick. They have a family emergency. They can't work on the project that they expected they had. And that not just affects their part of the project, but all the contingencies, like all the people depending on them to be able to do their part of the project. So when you're managing those changes, you're constantly juggling and saying, how do I build in redundancies or padding? How do I make sure that I've accounted for those types of challenges in the actual schedule? This is what you're constantly looking for, because as you're managing those changes, you're not just managing for what's happening in the moment, you're managing it for what's happening for the successful completion of the project. So one of the things you can do up front is to anticipate some of those challenges. You don't know what they are, but you know they're going to be there. So that's when you start to say, what kind of additional time might I want to pad into the project? What additional financial resources might I also want to build in as contingencies? If you don't need them, great. Nobody's upset if you come to them and say, we got this project done 2 weeks early. Nobody's going to get upset if they say, we came in 15% under budget. Where they're going to have more problems is that if you made a commitment to a particular timeline, a particular budget resource, and then you don't hit those numbers, that's where people are going to be upset. So if you can build in some of that anticipation ahead of time, it's going to make sure that you have a much better success rate when you're going to actually launch and connect on each of those elements that you've signed up for in the project.